Today we have such a treat for you, a Bass Tales episode on the incredible life and bass guitars of the legendary Donald Duck Dunn. Most known for his 1960s session recordings with Stax Records and his membership in Booker T and the MGs, Donald Duck Dunn played with a who's who of the pop music scene in the 1960s. The Blues Brothers, Otis Redding, Sam and Dave, Carla Thomas, Albert King, Bill Withers, and Elvis Presley, just to skim the surface. In 1992, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and although he passed 10 years ago, his legacy lives on in the trail that he blazed for all bass players who endeavor to make soulful, funky music. Okay, it's time to hand it over to Duck's son Jeff and Nick Rosaci and go through some of these incredible bass guitars. The first one being a 1957 Fender P acquired from the estate of Elvis Presley bassist Bill Black. Let's get into it.
This bass originally was black with a white pickguard, and you can see the neck is all original. This is what they would call a V-neck, which has a V-shaped profile on the back of it. When I was a kid in high school, I think my father was on the road, and I was in wood shop, and they said, hey, does anyone have anything they want to refinish, like made out of wood? I took it upon myself to take the neck off and then sand the body down and made it into a natural bass. There are some pictures of it in that state when Dad was using it in the studio, and he would be smoking his pipe, and it had like a brushed metal pick guard on it. In hindsight, I should have left it alone. Luckily, Dad didn't kill me over that. And that was right about the time that Dad was starting to play with the Blues Brothers. But then what happened to the bass, he let the hard rock have it. And they had it about 32 years. So this bass spent a lot of time hanging around on the wall in hard rocks. You can see on the patina of the tuners up there how yellow they are. That's all cigarette tar, because in the first half of its life in the hard box, they allowed smoking in the restaurants. And let's hear it. Katie, left me and you to ride.
Now at this point, I need to mention the sponsor of today's video. It's SBL. Look, if you want to get better at playing the bass guitar, SBL is the place to do it. And if you're interested in soul, R&B, Motown, Stax music, we have numerous courses that will help you uncover and handle the nuances of those styles. We also have learning pathways that are deep dives into the nitty-gritty of styles and genres. Check out the blues pathway with Phil Mann and the soul and R&B pathway with West End legend Ian King.
Probably the most well-known bass that Dad owned, and that would be this 59 Fender Sunburst with a gold anodized pickguard. I have a good friend, his name's Kevin Dugan. Kevin Dugan is Michael Anthony's bass tech for Van Halen or Sammy Hagar nowadays, and he's been around a long time. He calls this one the Holy Grail. He bought this bass, I believe, about 1968 or 9. There's footage of Duck playing with Otis back in the day, and he had a bass that was just like this, but it had a rosewood fretboard, not the maple fretboard. That bass we've dubbed the mystery bass because it's kind of up in the air where it is today. Duck always said that it went down in Otis's plane crash. We're not sure if it really did or not. In the end, he ended up finding this bass, and then later on, as time went on, he started playing other basses because he wanted to leave this one at home where it was nice and safe and couldn't get broken or stolen or anything like that.
It was until Neil Young begged him, right?
And Neil Young begged him to bring it out on tour, so he did, and it's really a nice instrument. It's quite light in weight, yet feels really solid. And now we have these wonderful little Axe Heaven duplicates that just came out about 2 months ago. Some people always look at this bass and they go, what is this thing down here? And what they're talking about is he's got these little grommets down here that basically pull the string back a little bit. And what it does is it gets the the wrap of the string off the bridge and puts the regular winding on the bridge saddle. So it just kind of scoots it back a little bit. Let's see what we got here, Nick. You think it's going to work?
I don't know.
No, it's not working.
It doesn't seem like it's working. Oh, there. Well,
There we go. That's an unmistakable sound right there. So here we have Duck's 1966 Fender Precision bass, and he got this in the late 70s, and you can see it doesn't have a Fender Precision neck on it. It's got a jazz neck on it, but this is the original neck here that came with it. And can you read that, Nick?
it says 5 March 66C.
You know, there's another unique feature about this bass, and that is here it has demo stamped in the back of it. And if Nick can flip that over, look by the bolt plate, you can see it's there too. See, it's kind of, the paint's worn away, but that's DEMO. Maybe back in the day when music stores didn't have a ton of new stock of instruments, this was like a bass they had it as a demonstrator. And if you liked it, they'd say, well, then we can order you a bass just like it. This is a 1998 Fender Duck Dunn signature model. And you can see over here, there's a little hang tag that came with it. And they made about 290 of these basses. This one happens to be number 1. And this was Dad's own bass like this. You can see it's got some marks on it still where he was turning the knobs and little thumb grease on there. Someone cut the sticker out and put it on there for him from one of those. Maple neck. These are Labella flat wound strings. Gold anodized pickguard. He always liked a light bass, so any basses that were made that had his endorsement were usually made to be light. And I don't know, you want to see what it sounds like, Nick?
Let's see.
Okay. So here we have Duck's bass that was actually the very last bass that he played. And this is a Lakeland bass. He had an association with Lakeland towards the end of his career. This is the bass that he had with him in Japan when he passed away back in 2012. This bass really stays almost put away. It hasn't been tuned. It never gets played because this bass still has his DNA on the back of it right here, these sweat trails. So I've never polished this bass. I just keep it exactly the way it is. Out of respect to him. There's plenty of other basses to play around with, but being that this one is the very last thing that he touched, I just leave it how it is. That's why we just keep it nicely tucked away and we play all the other ones instead.
Woo! That Candy Apple Lakeland is so cool. I'm Ian Allison with SBL. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.